Doesn't matter, it's okay if engagement, involvement, or participation. Okay. So this is my engagement journey. Uh, to introduce to you, I'm Jason Sibugay Mamanobo tribe, and I belong to an organization known as Tuklas Katutubo. Tuklas Katutubo in English, I think it's Discover Indigenous People or Tribal Frontier. That's Tuklas Katutubo. I want to start to you the concept of involvement, from mountains to the lowlands. To begin with, I would like to share to you a story where me and my friend, who is also Manobo, we went first time in Manila, and he saw something in Manila. And he asked this question as if, I thought it's a joke, but that question, we never realized that it became this history why we came to be in this stage of doing something for our community. So when we passed over Manila, I don't know if you've been to Manila, he said something, Jason, why is it in Manila there are a lot of bridges, but there are no rivers underneath it? He's referring to overpass, flyover. Yeah. So all of us laughed. We thought he's just joking. And later he followed the question. It goes like this. Why in Mindanao, part of the Philippines, especially in the indigenous communities, there are a lot of rivers, but there are no bridges below it, where we can go to schools, where we can go to the hospitals, where we can get opportunities. You know, that question is like funny at first, but at the end of the day, we later learned that this question has prompted us the lack of opportunities, not only the lack of opportunities in the indigenous communities as compared to the Manila, the conditions in Manila. And this question actually describes not only an indigenous community of the Manobo, but it describes as well the indigenous peoples in the Philippines. So that bridge, of course, the lack of bridge represents the absence of rights, opportunities, respect, which is due to the indigenous peoples. Despite of respect, recognition, and the uncertainty of ancestral domain is sometimes, the continuing struggle of the indigenous peoples from day to day. And I think the main culprit perhaps is discrimination, neglect, or misrepresentation. So, I think some of us, we already experience discrimination, but for the indigenous people, it's not new to us. The moment we cross the rivers and we go to the schools, we were being called by many names by our classmates. Different discriminations. In fact, you cannot even wear the attires when you go to schools. You're being discriminated. Especially, there is a story in the north, in the Philippines, where Igorot who wears bahag was not being entered in the school premises because of what he wears. So he was being discriminated of what he's wearing. And even in the history of the books, sometimes we are not mentioned in the history in the Philippines, in the history books in the Philippines. And if we're being remembered, we are sometimes depicted as savage or uncivilized men, as indigenous peoples. That's why you cannot blame some young people or your classmates that they discriminate you or you call you by many names, because it's what in the books, it's what tells you in the schools. That's a problem, and that discrimination does not only cease from the school. It actually goes across until we get employment, we get other opportunities. So that's a problem among indigenous peoples. Maybe because we're staying in the upper areas, we don't know, or because what we wear or our cultures. So, to give you more on the picture of the discrimination, this is some part of the discrimination. If you see this picture, these are usual pictures that the kids drew in Mindanao. It's always what you think, what are the religions here? Christian and? There are no indigenous people symbols in any programs or any dialogues in any religious conferences. Philippine national holidays. In Christians, we have lots of holidays. Christmas, Holy Week. Muslims, we have Ramadans, and marami pa, Eid al-Fitr. The indigenous peoples, there are no days for us to celebrate our festivities, our sacred gatherings, our rituals. We cannot, I don't know who to blame, maybe because we are too quiet in the mountains, or our voices cannot be heard because we're in the mountains. What is the national food in the Philippines? You know? It's lechon. What's it? Lechon? Roasted pig. It's an insult to our brothers Muslim. We have Muslim brothers here in the Philippines. So why do you put a national food when in the Philippines we have diverse culture and traditions and religions? What is the national attire? It's barong. Our national attire being Manobo, the Igorots attire, the tribal groups in the north and the Visayas are not being recognized. The history. Actually, the history in the Philippines, it's always the north. It's in Manila. Jose Rizal, who else? Juan Luna, like this one. The national heroes are all from Manila. NCR. Do we have no heroes in our ancestral areas? It's not being recorded, recognized, or written. In fact, we have many heroes during the time of Japanese era, Spanish era. Do you know who Lapu-Lapu is? In the Philippines, he's the famous person in history who killed Magellan, the one who travels the world. He was being killed, not in other countries, but in the Philippines, by Lapu-Lapu. But do you know, in a certain area in Cebu, his real name is not Lapu-Lapu. There's a tribe in Cebu, the history was not written by them. The real name of Lapu-Lapu is not Lapu-Lapu. It's Kulafus. Meaning, it's history. It's always concept of history. It's his story, not our story as indigenous peoples. That's why we're being neglected, isolated. Even our own stories are not written in books. That's the problem. This is Kulafus. And in the Philippines, they no longer remember who is the descendants, how Lapu-Lapu died. You don't know what happened to Lapu-Lapu afterwards. But he's the one who's first recorded as the one who killed the colonizer. This is our heroes who are not written in the books. If you mention indigenous people, it's always this way. Wild tribes, beggar, mountain men, calling them Manobo, monkey without tail, pagans and primitives, you're like a Subanon when kids play dirt. So this is the usual identification of it being indigenous person here in the Philippines. These are the indigenous peoples in the Philippines. 110 tribes in the Philippines, and we are 14 million indigenous peoples. And right now, according to Asian Development Bank, the indigenous peoples continue to be the poorest of the poor. That their ways of life, culture, tradition, language, and education continue to be threatened. That's the problem. In schools, the Manyans, they cannot ride in the jeepneys inside, so they have to ride up in the roof. You cannot go inside the jeepney. So they're being discriminated. Their parents tell their children not to have Manyan for a seatmate. Manyan is a tribal group in Visayas. You have a friend, Italo graduate. I went to other building when I entered the room. My classmates were laughing aloud because they look like darker skin. Okay? They being discriminated. But do you know, the Manyans and the Aitas, 4 years ago, there was the first Aita lawyer who passed the bar exam. 5 years ago. Kasama din namin. He's one of my friends. And just 3 years ago, a Manyan lawyer passed also the bar exam. So you cannot already discriminate these indigenous groups. Tao po ako, hindi po ako Igorot. I'm a human, I'm not an Igorot. There's a comedian who said this in Baguio. And now he is persona non grata, declared persona non grata. But he apologized for what he did. She did, sorry. So from all this, we believe that there's a solution. Of all this discrimination, we cannot just blame others. What we have to do is to do something as indigenous peoples. That's the engagement. From lowlands back to the mountains, that's a concept. From lowlands back to the mountains, we thought the solution, we organized Tuklas Katutubo, National Organization of Young Indigenous Peoples of the Philippines, composed of different indigenous groups in the Philippines. At first, we went to Manila because we thought the solution where the heroes are there in Manila. So we went there looking for funds, looking for support. The solution is in Manila, we thought. But we later learned that we were frustrated and so tired. And we thought of going back to the mountains. And you know what we discovered in the mountains? That the solution is just right in front of our eyes. it's being an indigenous person. Seeing the rice terraces, how we built it, seeing the jars, treasures in the mountains, how they built it, the golden like Buddha in Manobo tribes, how they did it during the time when no technology has been existing. Imagine that. The values of the indigenous peoples, their bayanihan spirit or their collective spirit of helping each other, that's the concept of Tuklas Katutubo. That's where Balik Tribo concept has been conceptualized. Balik Tribo, it means return to the rise of trust your tribes. So that's the solution of the Tuklas Katutubo. We imagine, people say we cannot build something without the money, the mountains. But we told them, you're wrong. Without money, we were able to build schools in the mountains. Using only the woods, the mountains, the spirits of the indigenous peoples. At first I said, you cannot do that without the money. But we told them, you're wrong. We first made the school without money. And we started indigenizing the education. The history were being rewritten. The language has been indigenized. The way of teaching has been indigenized. After they graduate, they can become high school. They can go now to college. That's a program to Tuklas Katutubo. Balik Tribo concept, it's also lively promoting cultures. Again, no money involved. Health program, we have barefoot doctors, alternative health, no money involved. Protecting the mountain that feeds us, you have to protect the mountain because that's the program of Tuklas Katutubo. You have to protect the mountain because that's our program on education, livelihood, and health programs. And to end this, being a Manobo is the creative solution itself to our community's problem. Being indigenous person is the solution to our community's problem. People say that being an IP, you're so backward and illiterate. You're wrong. Now we indeed prove that being indigenous person is a solution to our community's problem. So that's it. Do you have still time for the video? The concept is like, it's a Jungian, where it's a concept where you put to the IPs, in the minds of the IPs, that they can be assertive, self-reliant, assertive in their rights. That's the concept of Balik Tribo. I'll show you the video how we do in the mountains when we have no money, when we have no budget. It's just being that you solve the solutions in your lives. So this is a built school here. This is in Malungon area. Malungon is the group there is Taga-Kaulon tribe. So from north to south, from different tribes, we came together and respond to the call of a particular group. No money involved. So some of the farmers, they left their farm first because they believe that education is the solution. For 2 weeks' time, after farming, they carried goods for the school. Before the school is, like the Subano, before the school is located, I think 3 to 4 hours before the school. So they can go to elementary school. Here, we built the school right just at their doorsteps. Here in the communities. The men were getting cutting trees. The women are cooking. Most donated their crops, their rice, their chicken. Some took frogs. That's ugod. Ano ba sa English ang ugod? Grass? Bamboos, woods. to protect the mountain that guides us always. So it's a top of the mountain. Here, the education is already indigenized. The teacher has to speak their tongue. The heroes here are not only Jose Rizal or MacArthur, also their tattoos and baes. They can go to school even wearing their attires, even having nothing in slippers. They can go to the school. They don't sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but they sing their lullabies, their chants, their songs, indigenous songs. Again, in the involvement part, nobody is listening to us. When after we built the school, Department of Education helped us in doing more schools in the mountains. So we built a flag where everybody can see that there's school in the top of the mountain. Again, this is all the concept of being IP. That being an indigenous person, you are the solution itself to your community's problem. At first, the teachers were volunteers. They were getting paid. Now the Department of Education is helping to provide honorariums for our teachers. That's the concept of balik tribu. When nobody is there to aid us, we realize that we are the heroes that we need. That the IPs, the indigenous peoples, can be self-reliant. That's the motto of Tuklas Katutubo. That being IP, neither backward, neither illiterate, but a bridge itself to our indigenous community. So that's it. This video has helped us. Some people from US saw this video through technology and they help us more. Now the school from the woods, now it's being done, built through cement. So at first we have only 1 to 2 rooms. Now it's already has 3 rooms. And can you imagine the concept of Balik Tribu program from one school? Can you imagine? Do you think how many schools that we already built in Mindanao? We built 18 schools without funding, just using the concept of Balik Tribu. That being an IP is the solution itself. That's a program of the class. Innovation technologies to promote IP rights. That's the concept of being an IP. Next. So use of social media and modern technology is very important. Okay? So it helps us into Class Katutubo in documentation of cultural treasures, production of books, accessibility of internet, promote advocacy, seek support, funding opportunities. That's where, from the programs that we implemented, funding support has helped us because of the technology. Next. But there's gap in the technology. Of course, no electricity, power, but it's okay. Not culturally sensitive. Some videos are not culturally sensitive. Consent not given, pre and prior informed consent. Every video, whether it does good to the community, the community has to be consulted. So some videos, documentation are not being consulted in the community. It's like begging type of seeking support. For the culture of the IPs, we are not really begging. We are not begging. That's not part of our culture. We want to show that we are a dignified people, that we can be self-reliant as Manobos, as Magindanaons, as Subanans. Influencing other cultures. Sometimes if you help them that the video, you provide them internet. Some culture will influence other cultures, especially those cultures that a small culture compared to the majority one. Showing weakness to IT culture. Some technology or internet, it shows that we cannot help ourselves. Look at the pictures, they're so pretty there. We don't want that in the IT communities. We want to be portrayed with dignity. Okay? Does not mean that we wear the costumes or tribal attire. We're already poor. Showing funding accessible to IP areas. Sometimes in the internet, those who get funding from outside are those who have access to internet. So the IP community, especially after electricity, has lack of opportunities, especially for funding, because they have no internet access or computer access. So in technology, if we want to use technology for the IP communities, it should further give dignity and respect to the way of life of the indigenous peoples. How do you do it? For this example, this picture. Do you think IPs are ignorant and uncivilized? No. What do you think? The indigenous peoples are ignorant and uncivilized? Yes or no? No? Look at this picture. We can go with the flow. Being an IP, we can go with the flow even it's modern. It's a modern time. In the Mangyan tribe, if you know the Mangyan tribe, it's working with Mangyan. They have the oldest, actually the alphabet in the Philippines. And it's still being used in the schools, Mangyan community. Imagine that how civilized they are as compared to the other culture in the Philippines. They still preserve their own language. No, this is not Alibak, it's Mangyan language. The first Mangyan lawyer, as I mentioned, UN Forum for Indigenous People is an Ibaloy from Philippines, from the north. We don't want to show that in the picture, in the technology, we are not technologically, not competitive. The IPs are competitive, very competitive. How? Look at this picture. An AITA community, an AITA person won gold prize in an Olympics in Malaysia. So that's being an IP. That doesn't mean that IP are uncivilized, cannot compete. In fact, we can compete. Not competitive? They said we are not technology competitive. Do you think we are not technology competitive because we have no electricity? We have no projector? No. We can be competitive also, technologically. Look at this one. You will be run out of gas. For the IP communities, you will not be running out of gas. You will not have flat tires. These are in the Igorot community. They designed this because in the rice terraces, they have to go down to bring their kids at school, their food, their market. They're going to the market. So again, we are not technology competitive. Wrong. We can compete technologically. Our ways of life is the life of the poor, being IP. Pag IP ka ba? Mountain, you're ignorant, you're uncivilized, you're wrong. These are the pictures of our lolos and lolas. Way before the time that the people are using braces without dentists that time. Can you imagine? Our lolos have already golden teeth and diamonds in their teeth. Subanons, do you have? Sa Subanons, do you have golden teeth of your lolo and lola? In the Manobos, we have. Imagine, during this time, we have no dentist. So again, are we uncivilized? No. That's the technology of the IPs. How can you imagine how they did this without a dentist? Okay? Using the treasures without technology at the time. Lasers without lasers. Can you imagine? Uncivilized? You're not uncivilized. Have you seen this in Makati now? Rice terraces? Imagine how the indigenous people have built rice terraces. This is in the north of the Philippines. I don't know if you have, in China, I don't know, in Myanmar, they have this. Imagine the technology of how they did this IP. No slavery, just being an IP, the culture and tradition. So again, are we uncivilized? Are we ignorant? No. Do you know this picture? The Facebook? Have you seen this? No. You know Yolanda? After Yolanda? There's a group of AITA students who were not being told what to do. They donated their food crops for the. Don't tell them AITAs are ignorant and uncivilized because they also know what life is. They're intelligent people. They're compassionate. Okay? So that's what we should do with the technology that we have now. Give more dignity to the indigenous peoples. Don't not more give more disrespect to them. That's it. Thank you.
I'm Montilla, so I'm from the Visayas. My family is half Spanish and half Filipino, and we settled in Negros. So I will tell you my story, personal story. Okay, in 1991 in Negros, I was estranged from my family. So it's a feudal land, so it's governed by feudal. So that there's so many problems in the family. So that there you can see the guy. So in 1996, when I fled in Iloilo, the other island, I went to the other island after fleeing my home. Then I started working as a prostitute and trading drugs for your survival. So because I work at a ship, so I am regularly every day I go to Iloilo and Manila, starting in 1996. Okay, in 1995, I lived in the streets in Bacolod City. Then I transferred in Iloilo. Then who among you here have know Boracay? Have you heard Boracay? So Boracay is because it's a famous beach in the world, and it's when you go there, you cannot see Filipinos. It seems like it's a foreign island. It's a tourist spot. So my island is the tourism hub in the Philippines. So it's a hub that trafficking is very common. So I stayed there in 1997 to save money because I have a dream. I want to finish my college, and that's the only way I can. So you are used by the syndicates to transfer drugs. So you will sell drugs because during the time you're young, so they take advantage of you. In order to control you, of course, they drug you so that you will be high in drugs. Okay, in 1998, I went to Pagsanhan and Puerto Galera because that is also a place where young boys are in prostitution. It's the capital for prostitution for boys and men. So Puerto Galera and Pagsanhan is in southern Tagalog, in southern Luzon, it's in Mindoro and in Laguna. Okay, so you can see the stars. That stars is actually the root of human trafficking in the Philippines. It's called micro-level trafficking. So you can see we have this Roro, you know. So yeah, so it becomes a way where Mindanao and young people in Mindanao and Visayas are being trafficked from one island to the other, going to Angeles and Olongapo. So Angeles and Olongapo is like Patpong in Thailand. It's the place where women are really selling their dignity. Okay, so I have a dream. My dream is just to become a scientist. And it will not. It's really something that I want to finish college. So I went to the Department of Social Welfare and Development. So instead of them looking for us, so what I did is nobody is looking for us. So I went to the DSWD to negotiate with them. So that's the time that I'm involved because I feel I need and I have needs. I want to go back to school. I want health for my health because most of my members are positive of HIV and STDs. So we need really the help of the government. Then during my time, I have saved money. I also asked the help of the Commission on Filipinos Overseas if they can provide me funding. So they provided me the Feed the Hungry Scholarship. I became a recipient of this. In 1999 to 2003, I was accepted at the West Visayas State University. So it's a regional university. And I don't have enough money to really continue my education there. But the two agencies were helping me. Then, in 1998, I founded my organization. Then in 2003, it was registered with the National Youth Commission. In 2004, we became SEC registered. And in 2005, we are registered at the DSWD, our mother. So this is the time of engagement because we already organized ourselves. So this is our vision. We envision a Philippine society in which every boy and man is recognized along with every girl and woman as equally vulnerable. Because if you're a boy and you're sexually abused or raped, nobody will listen to you. You'll be blamed of that experience. I will tell you there are more boys who are prostituted than women in the Philippines. It starts as grade 5. Because we have this culture of machismo that binyag, what they call it, a baptism. That your first baptism, you will be circumcised. You are a tunay na lalaki. You are a true man. So when you're circumcised, you must experience sex. It's another baptism. Ganap na lalaki, you are a real man. So there are many people taking advantage of that, of sexually exploiting these kids, just to prove to them that they are real man, macho. So this is our mission, develop survivor solutions. Because the problem with my members is they don't also recognize that they are victims. They also feel like macho. But the outcomes is, it's very bad because they become criminals later. I will share to you how. We developed the ladder of emergence. Yesterday I was speaking, someone asked me, but they're willing. They're willing to have sex in exchange for money. So sex work should be legalized. So I was shocked with that idea. So I shared this. First is, the issue of sex work and prostitution is not about human rights. Actually, it's about dignity. It's the dignity that is robbed from you. Okay? So you are now a victim. So this is our ladder. From victimization, you are now a survivor. That is our goal. We want to remove them to become a survivor. Then you will be transformed. There is transformation in you. And this transformation is for the shared development goals because we have dreams. Everybody have dreams. And not only dreams, but also we have a human rights charter that is signed by almost all countries except for one, I forgot the name of that country. So this is, okay, so from, some of our members are going down the ladder. So when they grow old, when they are age 12 to 15, they are very marketable. But when they reach 25, they become a petty thief and pimp. They pimp younger boys because they are not anymore, nobody will buy them anymore. Okay? They become extortionists and traffickers when they grow 30 to 40 years old. They become a syndicate, murder, and organized crime when they turn out 50 years old. So that is the internal powers of empowerment. We go to our dreams, toward our dreams, and the other one is internal drivers of disempowerment, this one. So accountable and abdicating behaviors. So actually this is a career path of a sex worker. This is the career path. So is it, when you are a sex worker, if you legalize sex work, do you think you will go up for your dreams? No. You will go there, go down. Okay, so we have a tool that we develop because we realize that every time a funding agency is funding us, when the money is gone, we relapse to our previous behaviors. There's no sustainable behavior change. It becomes donor driven. Sometimes we have this concept of donor funds are actually doing more harm than help. Why? Because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I visit the community, they're happy that someone is visiting them. They offer their food. They are the one. But now they will not anymore attend your activity if you will not reimburse their transportation or whatever. So it destroyed the strength of the community, the inner strength. So these tools are a self-assessment. So we call it River of Life. It's not religious, but it sounds like religious. Because the life of our life, even in your life, it's like a river. There's two sides of the river. So there's two sides. The first side is the danger side, and the other side is the safer side. So our goal is really to go back, to cross the brighter side. So this is the self-assessment. All the bad behaviors are there. Then we facilitate, the leaders facilitate assessment of the risk behavior, whether it's high risk or low risk. Then we develop this template wherein the blue one is the water. So your goal is really to make it blue. It means that my life is not anymore at risk. Then the green one is you still need help. And the red one are the scores, the self-assessment. We also have a group, River of Life, where the members of the peer group who are engaged in prostitution and drugs, they share their points, their scores, and to know who among them are in the danger side and who among them are in the safer side. And those in the safer side will help those who are in the danger side. So that is now the peer-to-peer approach that will help. Because if we don't have these tools, those on the danger side, they will be the one who will make the younger one at risk. Okay, so this is the activity. So the outputs are being used to inform policies. So they present their River of Life to the government. They engage. They are not anymore ashamed of telling, this is my risk behaviors. Okay, so that is the later on we have this issue in our organization because this is just a tool that we use for behavior change. But the problem of human trafficking is now become digital. Who among you here believes or recognize that human trafficking is now in social media and the mobile? It's already there. The trafficking of young people for sexual purposes is already conquered the digital age. But the problem now, our organization is not ready because we have not yet developed our tools to conquer also the Facebook and everything in order to help our members. And later on, I will share to you that solution, that idea. So, thank you very much. And okay, so I will provide you data about cybercrime because human trafficking has already conquered the world. So, according to this, there are 1.5 million victims a day on cybercrime. So 18 victims a second. And during that victimization, the cost is 110 billion US dollars. Okay. So 2/3 of adults use a mobile device to access the internet. 31% receive a text message from someone they don't know that they click on. Mobile users, 2/3 of mobile users don't use security solutions. 4 out of 10 social networks has fallen victims to cybercrime. 8 out of 10 online adults have a social network account. Kanina is almost 100%. No? Of social network users report that someone has hacked into their profile and pretend to be them. 1 out of 6. And 3 out of 10 did not know about cybercrime when online because they did not expect that it will happen to them. So 3 out of 10 have received posts or messages that they suspect are not actually from friends. So this is just the normal tech-savvy person na nasa online siya. Wala ito yung mga crimes talaga na syndicated. Okay, 1 in 3 runaways is recruited by a pimp within 48 hours of leaving home. So if there is someone in the family who naglayas, just run away because of a family problem, 1 out of 3 of them is vulnerable by pimps. 12 years old, average age of first exposure to pornography for boys. Do you agree? That at young age, 12, we have members who have Facebook, and we have this program that we want to help them monitor their online behavior. We have discovered that there are friends with girls, beautiful girls, in the picture of the Facebook. But actually they are not girls. There's someone posing to be a girl, then they will pose naked, then they will ask the person out in the next to masturbate, for example, because of that pornography. They don't know, these children does not know that someone is recording them. Then the recording is being transferred via peer-to-peer file sharing, and it's now becomes X video, like that. So average age of entry into prostitution is 13 years old. 95% of women involved in prostitution report sexual abuse as children. Minors are sold on an average of 15 times a day. Okay, so yesterday someone asked me about to legalize sex work because of the willingness of the victim. So when you go to college, you want to be a doctor, for example. What is your experience before that you decided to become a doctor? Of course, you have dreams. You prepared yourself in high school to get science class to excel. How about if a prostitute? What prepared them to decide to become a prostitute?
Financial problem.
Okay, maybe. What else? Yeah, that's the data there. What else? If you are normal, if you are now 25 years old, you're not anymore a child, do you think if there is a job fair, then there's a booth there selling, you sell your body as a sex worker, do you think you will go there and apply? Why?
I am uneducated.
Yeah. No? Yeah. It can be like that. But you're prepared for that. That's why when someone asks me, it should be legalized. It should be legalized because of the willingness. They are willing. So we really argue because most people who want sex work to be legalized are people who are not prostitutes themselves, who are not trafficked themselves, who are not victims themselves. They speak in behalf of the community. That's the problem here in the Philippines with the laws. The IPRA law, for example, it should be the community of indigenous people who should develop their own laws. It is the community of those who experience exploitation and trafficking who should develop the laws. It's not the other people who because they just want to have testing, maybe. We understand naman, no? They want to subject these people to HIV testing or STD testing because the spread of HIV. So that's why our organization, we have a network in the Philippines of female and male sex workers and drug addicts that we don't want to legalize drugs. We don't want to legalize sex work because the issue there is not about human rights, it's about human dignity. We want to restore that dignity. It was stolen from us when we were children. I was 8 years old. I was innocent. I don't know that it's a crime. When I just grow up, that's the time that I realized that it's a violation of my human rights. Then most of our members, except me because I rise above the adversity that I've experienced, but some of my members are still there being exploited because they did not value their dignity. So what happened to them now? They steal, they rob their customers. So 800,000 number of people trafficked each year. The ratio of men to women traffic is 1, but I'm challenging this because men is not, when you ask in a questionnaire, of course men will not say that they have experienced trafficking, but actually they are trafficked. We call it transactional sex. There is intimate sex, if it is a relationship. There's also intimate sexual violations. Commercial sex for sex workers and transactional sex for young people na text lang, 20-20. Example sa 20 peso just for oral sex. Haircut, free color for grade 5, grade 6. Just imagine, uh, because they don't know that they don't know that, because our education is very conservative, they don't talk about sexuality. So when you say sexuality, it's about sex, it's about pregnancy. They talk about, it's about pregnancy. If you ask them, have you ever had sex? They say, no. Because their concept of sex is about man to woman. But if you ask them about oral sex, it's not sex. Because you're not getting pregnant with that. Or anal sex, it's not sex. Because you're not getting pregnant in that. Those are children, young people, who thinks that those are not sex, but actually they are. That's why we are lobbying for sex education in the elementary schools. Because they know more than us. They know more. 32, is this million or billion? Billion. Annual global revenue on human trafficking industry. 13,000 to 67,200 average profits generated per year by a single forced labor. I went to Cambodia last month and I see there the same situation. Thailand, the same. Do you think in your countries, in Myanmar, do you also have prostitution? A lot. No? Sometimes they are trafficked from those in Thailand are from other countries going to China. Okay, so what do we do? Because of the gap of this digital age, our river of life is rendered unuseful na. You know, it's nice project, but the time of the young people now is they are already there in the internet. So we have these cases of boys who are addicted to Dota and what else? What else? Dota and violent games. If they don't have money, they prostitute. They're doing prostitution just to get 20 pesos for 1 hour. Then if after 1 hour they go again outside and for sex. So it's really a driver, no? So this is now the gap. Many of us are online, are present online. We are doing this internet meet, no? We are having Facebook. A while ago we have this, what do you call this, the game about how many have Facebook, Twitter. But we forgot that why not how to engage the youth in order to fight human trafficking via the same thing, Facebook, Twitter, and all of this one. So we develop a concept proposal that can fly in partnership with the young people. We cannot do this alone as a survivor organization. We need the youth because the youth are really, we want to use the energies of the youth for this meaningful engagement, digital engagement. So we call it innovative networking, technology-driven response and community engagement platform on trafficking in persons via electronic portal, information station, and cyber hubs. So this is the cyber hubs. We want to moderate an online interaction and P2P file sharing, interception of online and offline tip information, collect data, manage information, secure digital evidence. We have many young people as young as 10 years old, 11 years old who are being recorded and being shared across blog sites, these organizations, porn sites. And what we do is we download those digital evidence or screenshot, do some screenshot, everything, in order to gather the evidence. Then send the evidence to the National Bureau of Investigation for them to do their part to catch these sick people. Okay. Then we have this, what we call information stations. Because trafficking is happening in port areas, in bus terminals, there are many people who are trafficked there. Airports, for example, we have information stations that there are hotlines. So the hotlines, if you are just a young people, there is something like a victim there. So I will just text. So this is the plate number, etc. So then you text it, then the cyber hubs will receive it and will facilitate the interception. So notices of missing persons. There are so many missing persons around. What the family do is just they post it to the public areas because their son or their daughter was lost. nobody's helping them in the internet. They might maybe someone will see will help through the internet. And we have this digital storytelling. So we have this plan with USAID. We want this to be funded, but it's a competitive bid. That's why Jason said here that it's difficult to compete with big NGOs because we are not NGOs. We are people's organization. Our organization exists because we have members, not because of funds, but because we have members. That is our strength. So we have this competition with big NGOs who has track record, whatever. So sometimes the funds goes to them. It's difficult to get those funds. So we have this program, the digital storytelling, the stories of former prostitutes, the former drug addicts, the indigenous peoples. We also have indigenous peoples who are sex workers, for example, in Boracay, that the foreigners marry them, marry the girls there in order for them to purchase land. Then they make them like kids to watch the house. Then the children are, because they are half foreigner, nobody take care of them. They're doing prostitution now. There. Hybrid, no? Then to digitize the stories, then but it's like small videos, indie videos about our lives. Then use it to promote advocacy and empowerment. And online contribution, we want to contribute also. So this is the cyberspace. That's the cyberspace, and this is our gadgets that almost all of us has. And we can actually help each other to stop human trafficking because within have you heard about the ASEAN integration? Who have heard it? The ASEAN integration. The ASEAN countries will soon decide that we will open our doors, so there's no more the trafficking there might be. We cannot anymore see it, but through our engagement, we will still be watchful, we will still engage on how to prevent human trafficking because it's really a crime that is against human dignity. It's not just about against human rights, it's against human dignity. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.